Welcome to episode 334 of the Saturn Studs podcast. I'm Kurt, joined once again this week by my martial artist co-hosts Peter and Jake. There's only so many variations on that you can do. I think that more than anything else is representative of the fact that there are too many seasons of Cobra Kai that I am out of ideas.
Mm-hmm. We are the boys, playing with the it's so deep at this point. It's gone on for so long. Too much Cobra Kai.
We are the only
but
people
we're here.
left watching the show, and we have proof of that fact.
This hole was made for me, and we're going to tell you all about it on the Dinkster edition of the cast.
The Dinkster edition.
Somebody ring the Dinkster.
just out of context, that video, is the product of madness.
Even in context, I don't think it's much better.
A person who I'm assuming is a Latino American cowboy comes Mary Poppinsing down on a clear umbrella, tips his cowboy hat, puts his hands on his hips and says, "Did somebody ring the Dinkster?" While a playful orchestral tune plays in the background.
I can't believe that of the videos we watched before we started the show that we got stuck on Dinkster and not the fucking 7-minute video, which is 4.5 minutes of build up to 30 seconds of a man dangerously close to diabetes to begin with, chugging 5 Mountain Dew voltages, which I did the math. There's 77 grams of sugar in a 20-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew of any flavor variety. So that man chugged 385 grams of sugar in like 30 seconds. So like almost half a gram of sugar.
Big drink.
Who played the Dinkster? That's what I'm curious about.
Who was the Dinkster?
Well, if you go to IMDb,
I'm looking him up. I'm trying
and
to
go
find
to
him.
Spy Kids 3D and search
Dinkster. He's not listed as the Dinkster, I don't think.
It's gotta be. I will prove you wrong.
It's not Mike Judge. Donegan Giggles, maybe? You know, the Dinkster.
Kids 3, game over.
I'm gonna have to go to more. I'm gonna have to go all cast and crew.
Here. I'm gonna read an excerpt from an interview in
Oh, it's Bill. I knew he looked familiar. Motherfucking Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
fucking
Dinky Winks.
I'm reading an excerpt from an article on change.org for a petition to make a Dinkster standalone film. So I was sitting
Bill
there remembering
Paxton
every note
of Aliens and Apollo 13 fame.
And here he is. Truly a Robert Rodriguez moment. So I was sitting there, remembering every noteworthy wisecrack, every gut-busting physical gag, when I fully began to realize the nuances of one of the series' most memorable characters. Amusement park owner Dinky Winks, better known as the Dinkster, portrayed by Screen Actors Guild, Golden Globe, and Primetime Emmy Award-nominated actor Bill Paxton.
Well, we shouldn't be surprised. Sly Stallone, I believe, was the main antagonist of Spy Kids 3.
He was all three of the main villains.
That wasn't. How did that movie get made? That wasn't a movie. That was an event.
It was Robert Rodriguez, who we learned. So we looked at his filmography, and aside from the obvious ones, we learned about
some interesting
stuff
connections
he was in. Yeah. So one, he directed or was in producer for Lucha Underground.
He was an executive producer on all 3 seasons of Lucha Underground.
Which, for those who don't know Lucha Underground, just imagine if the guy who directed Spy Kids made a wrestling show. Just put that there. Put that in your heads.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And then he was also an executive producer showrunner on Book of Boba Fett. and directed all the episodes that didn't have The Mandalorian in it. So when you see the 4 punks riding around on their brightly colored Vespa scooters,
Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
That he directed that episode.
I think it's kind of crazy that Junie Cortez, aka Daryl Sabara, is dating what's her name? I literally just had her name. Some actress or some singer rather.
You know what? I can't believe it myself.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
No, you're
He's
never
able to.
Holy shit!
You're gonna be like, wait, what the fuck?
You know, fuck the Dinkster spinoff. I want the Dinky Winks Jr. spinoff.
Yeah. The
Bill
generational
Paxton's real life son, James Paxton. Dinky Winks
Meghan
Jr.
Trainor. He's like, he has a baby with Meghan Trainor. Like they have a healthy relationship.
Whom is this?
Was she the one who
Junie
sang
Cortez
all about that bass?
Yeah,
right?
she's all about that bass lady. Like they're
Junie
living off that
Cortez is
Spy
all about
Kids
that
3 and
bass.
all about that bass.
That's the kind of tale you can pull when you're in the cinematic masterpiece that is Spy Kids 3 Game Over.
And now Meghan Trainor is a viral TikToker. I think that's really cool. I think that's where she belongs.
Oh, a celebrity with an already established following gets big on TikTok. What a surprise!
No, she doesn't have a following. Nobody fucking knows who Meghan Trainor is. When was the last time she came out with a song? Like all about that bass.
All I remember is she came out with a song called "Dear Husband."
Yeah, Dear Future Husband.
Dear Future
But
Husband.
even so, she has had like 2 Billboard Top 40 hits in like very recent memory.
We all know celebrities don't get paid nearly enough as they should.
They need that TikTok.
Yeah.
They need that ad revenue.
They need to move to whatever location we're coming at you live from so they can.
We're coming at a really crazy location. Neo Okinawa.
Yeah.
Located in sunny California, United States, where sometimes it's like beautiful 80-degree weather and sometimes it's like 50s and chilly and you have to like bundle up in a hoodie. How many kids are wearing hoodies?
They're all wearing hoodies. It's just the way. I like to think, now that you put me on to it, I like to think that Terry Silver, like once the whole colony left for Power Rangers in space, he found Zordon's old headquarters and made a dojo there.
Makes sense.
Like someone listed it on fucking Zillow. And he's like, "Ooh,
I could buy that.
What a great deal."
He was actually renting it out to Zordon at first, and then Zordon hopped ship, and he's like, "I didn't really know this was that."
It's nice they rebuilt the command center after it got.
I'm not going to put this on
at the end of Zio.
Yeah, I'm not going to put this on the market anymore. I think I might just convert this to a little
Does
dojo
this come with
coffee
free
shop.
Morphin Grid?
Well, they had to rebuild after it got blown up at the end of, I want to say, Zio.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a little Okinawa spot in California. Didn't realize that everybody in Okinawa, 1, knew each other, and 2,
it's a small island,
have relocated to the valley
because the island was too small.
It just got overpopulated. All those Okinawan flightless birds, the Okinawa Rail, aka the Yanbaru Kuina. I said that the most American way ever. And I am going to go to Japan one day and say, all the wrong things to them. And they're going to just kick me out. I'm going to go there and say, ni hao. It might be Chinese.
That is Chinese. Oh no, we lost Peter.
So we're gonna learn how to type some commonly used Japanese sayings.
Ohio.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Watashi no Maihaya.
Omae
Jacob.
wa shinderu.
I do want to learn just like Southern Japanese. That's a really cool thing.
Oh, Osaka
Uh,
Japanese, yeah.
Yeah.
Just using or saying Japanese things in like a American Southern accent.
Mm-hmm.
Watashi.
Omae wa shinderu.
Deska.
Ohio.
From Ohio.
Omae wamo tamashi.
Anyways, speaking
Nani?
of Ohio Matashi, I know what Matashi it is, and it's trailer time.
Totomate, Jake-san. Or should I
It's
say
pizza
Jake
time.
Kun?
Fucking weebs.
How do you say pizza time in Japanese?
Pizzaru Taimuru.
You're actually not that far off.
Is that the Roman?
Romanized
Pizza
kanji.
Taimu. It's all one word, but it's Pizza Taimu. I can get away with it. Pizza Taimu.
I hate that I was so close, intentionally trying to be a dick about it.
There are a lot of it's interesting. There's a lot of words that are very similar sounding to English and Japanese. Like cake is just cake.
Well, you got to figure that these are concepts that were not pre-existing.
Cake.
Like they can't. Like I'm not surprised that the word for
There's-
pizza in pretty much most languages is pizza, because like other
Mhm.
than to Italy, this was a foreign concept they would not have had a word for.
Just
This is
loan words
crazy.
out the ass.
This
I
is
think
crazy.
the actual I think a more accurate translation. I'm sorry for doubting your expertise, Jake. But the rival translation says pizza no G can.
No G can. My Google
Pizza no
translator.
G-kan.
But is it
Uh,
no like of? So wouldn't that be like
Yeah,
time
I
of
put in
pizza?
time of pizza.
Okay.
Because that's how they usually do that.
Mm.
Okay.
How about this one? Guess what this one is? Spaghetti to mitoboru.
Apple Brown Betty.
Spaghetti and meatballs. Spaghetti to mitoboru. Mitoboru. That's probably meatball.
Sure. Just like
I'm surprised they don't have like meatball.
big old meatballs, bones and all.
I hate the I like a boneless
I
meatball,
like
please.
I like bone-in meatballs. They're a little
They
bit
fall-
more
I
nutritious.
love it when the meatballs fall right off the bone.
See, but it should be this. Some meat is niku, and ball
Jake, I
is
just got us
tama.
back on track. Don't derail it.
Niku.
How are we going to talk
tama
about
is
Timothy
meatball.
Chalamet's hair?
Nah. Timothy Chalamet is a meatball. Okay, we'll
He's
talk
got
about
the
his hair later.
He's got the hairs of a meatball.
No, he does actually have hair of a meatball. 'Cause it's all red.
From the
He's
blood
trying
of his
to,
victims, I guess.
He's trying to portray himself as one of those gingers.
Watch yourself.
Sorry, gingers.
That's
my bad.
That's our word.
Jinjos, like in Banjo Kazooie.
Proud
Yeah.
Crimson American. Thank you. What was I going to say? Oh yeah,
Bones and all.
one of the most ludicrous poll quotes I've ever seen comes from the Hollywood Reporter. Romance, and for some reason the genres are in caps lock. Romance and horror have never come together as ideal. Oh, I'm sorry, it's all in caps lock. They're just sized up randomly. Romance, smaller type, and larger type. Horror have all larger type never come together, smaller type, as ideally as they do here. What other movies have attempted to blend those two genres? Is there a lot of competition for that?
I don't know. My favorite pull quote. Like I'm looking at this too. Yeah, where just everything that isn't like a main word is like one font size smaller.
Yeah, 1 to 2 font size. Another one.
An exceptional victory of cinema.
From Discussing Film, a publication I've never heard of.
Powerful.
So here's the synopsis.
Real
A
heavy
story of
hitter.
first love between Marin, Taylor Russell, a young woman learning how to survive on the margins of society, and Lee, Timothy Chalamet, an intense and disenfranchised drifter as they meet and join together for a 1,000-mile odyssey, which takes them through the back roads, hidden passages, and trapdoors of Ronald Reagan's America. But despite their best efforts, all roads lead back to their terrifying past and a final stand that will determine whether their love can survive their otherness. What the fuck?
Jake is showing us the results of coming out of Shark Week.
You definitely don't want to eat on Shark Week.
Man, nothing stops this man from cunnilingus. Timothy Chalamet got it all. He got the girl. He got that
hair.
Third-degree
This is the hair I think of in Ronald Reagan's America.
Yeah.
That tight to the sides with the loose hair on top, dyed red.
That's how they all looked. But you see, he lives on the margins of society, Peter. He's a nonconformist.
Yeah. Yeah, so do my fucking lunch notes during class.
He was a conscientious objector.
I got another screen grab for you. Here you go.
Oh dear.
When
you know what? I'm good. I don't need to. I didn't need to see the nips.
When the Benny
I saw the
Gesserit
nips already. In fact,
when the Benny Gesserit trying to get you to become the Muwahajib, you just pull up your shirt like this and say tomorrow.
Jake's he's just hitting Dune words. He's just pressing buttons on his Dune soundboard. Which side note, I really need to add the Dune, like the lady doing the
when the spice hits. Am I right, guys? Is that relatable?
Is that Jake? Is that your Gon Jabbar? Are you just happy to see me?
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I don't know what the fuck happens in this movie. It seems like a teaser, but maybe it's an actual good trailer.
I know Jake's teased.
I am teased. We got Timothy Chalamet busting nip, trying to be Muwahajib and artistic up in this bitch. Is he a murderer? Maybe. Is he a lover? Yes. And just like those critics were saying, this is the best marriage of horror and romance that maybe the world will ever see.
Because Timothy Chalamet will make me laugh. A bazinga. Cue laugh track. Cue Sheldon. Segue 2.
Spoiler alert. That's an appropriate name for this trailer because it kind of spoils the whole movie for you.
It's the entire thing right there.
That's the entire comment section.
I thought we had seen it. I thought we had gone pretty far into the realm of movie is in the trailer, but this really is everything.
I do want to make a note that this is basically just a bros twin.
This is the twin movie to bros. This is this is the introverted version, and bros is the extroverted version.
Yeah. This guy only has one friend, which is his husband. The bros one has many friends and no husband.
Or are they fiends?
Best Fiends.
Best
This
Fiends.
podcast brought to you by Best Fiends. Use code STUDS at checkout when you download Best Fiends, your favorite online gaming competition app, word games, and buy DLC for it. Get
Do those games
coins.
include wearing platform shoes and playing basketball?
Yeah.
I remember that game. That was my favorite game from Best Fiends. It was Tommy Wiseau in fucking disco platform shoes and bell bottoms shooting hoops with Greg Sestero.
an issue with
But don't worry, he's Greg's
the
age.
game Best Fiends? Because I think Best Fiends came out first. The game.
Tommy Wiseau has no issues that his money can't solve.
Guess so.
Well, I gotta watch that movie again.
First spoiler alert, and a
right.
serious note, like, it seems like it's at least a well acted piece. Like it was emotionally stirring for the trailer, but it is everything you need from the movie in the trailer. I don't see how this, really is gonna surprise you.
Which it's a rom-com, so I don't think I don't think it's really trying to step out of any kind of box.
Weirdly, although like it does feel kind of fresh in the rom-com space, if for no other reason than it's for the gays. But this is like the second of those. Like, what's the one with Billy Eichner?
Bros.
Oh, is it Bros? Okay.
Yeah, that's why we're like these are twin movies.
These are the twinning movies.
Maybe they'll find that these two movies will
find each other. Yeah, soulmates.
Well,
and then that's the third movie is the rom-com about two gay movies falling in love with each other.
Well, wasn't Bros about them trying to write the first ever rom-com
for gays?
For Hollywood.
I think that's the framing device of the movie. Yes.
So what if this is the movie?
What if this is the movie they wrote in Bros?
Yeah. They just actually followed Billy Eichner. What if Billy Eichner's a writer on this shit, and they just followed him around and made another movie about that? Hollywood's really starting to get crafty with these movie ideas.
We're gonna get a movie at this point where it's just like them just writing everything that happens to them in real time.
Like, it's like the fucking Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Right now. Right.
It's all about putting out content. It's not about the quality of it. It's just we need more content.
So,
and if we could a movie in like a day, that'd be great.
Apparently there's a book that this is based on. And sadly it is not written by Billy Eichner.
Damn.
He does not appear to have any involvement. But dude, if there was ever a meta concept that deep,
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is pretty good.
It's gonna be my headcanon.
I will tip my cap.
That'd be a good double feature.
Yeah,
watch a movie about the movie that you're about to see being made. And then
it's sort of like, what they did with X and Pearl, releasing those in the same year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, X and Pearl is actually a pretty good concept. It would be interesting to see. I don't think Maxine's slated to come out until 2023, but it would be funny if they just drop that like December 24th, Christmas Eve movie, or December 30th, last day of the year. They dropped an entire trilogy in the span of a year.
Eat your heart out, Matrix.
Yeah.
Eat your heart out, Avatar, for when they start dropping fucking a blockbuster every year.
Oh, that Avatar.
Yeah. No, not fucking not Airbender.
No airbending tonight.
I saw a fucking video that was like a video essay, and then like the conceit was, is Avatar overrated? I'm like, I don't think so, because I know one person alive who thinks that Avatar was a good movie. So I don't think it could possibly be overrated.
Oh. See, again, I was confusing you there for saying, like, is Avatar the show overrated?
Yeah, maybe.
Which, that's a more compelling topic for me, because I know a lot of people who really rate Avatar super highly.
Like, at that point, like, yeah, if it's that universally acclaimed, like, on some level, it's overrated. Because, like, nothing could possibly live up to that level of hype.
The other argument is Avatar, and this is Atla, is Atla a anime or a cartoon? And
it's a genre I call Amerime. Other examples are Voltron Legendary Defender.
Well, I feel like they also think that like calling it a cartoon is a like a criticism or a negative to it, whereas like there isn't anime for kids.
Justice League
Just like there's
Unlimited
cartoons for
has
kids
better
and
writing
adults.
than like 99.9% of all anime.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would think that calling something a cartoon would belittle it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Megas XLR, another example of a Merime.
That's just a silly
Symbionic
cartoon
Titan.
for babies.
Yeah.
Just any of Gennedy's adult stuff, which again we should probably talk about Primal at some point this
we'll
year.
get there.
My gym
We'll get
partner's a monkey. Best Amerime I've ever seen.
I was not prepared for that. that fucking touched a part of my brain that has not been touched in a long time. I don't think I liked it.
What can I say? I'm a serial toucher.
You just all right. Before we get going on to our next one, you just reminded me. There's been a trend in anime recently of having really long names. I don't know if you're.
No, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
So, you'll have one like I found this just listicle, and here's the longest anime name they could find.
Yeah,
The
there's
title
no
of this
reason.
anime is The Story in Which I Was Kidnapped by a Young Ladies' School to Be a Sample of the Common People.
It's like a fucking Zack Sabre Jr. submission hold.
Only, just narrowly beating out number 2. Imagine a country bumpkin from the village before the last dungeon comes to the capital to become a soldier.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So the kind of like the reason why there are a lot of animes and manga that have.
I think it comes from like light
long
novels,
names.
So-
Japanese light novels.
There's a couple of reasons. Like one is to like differentiate it between the different chapters, because different books will have different names and they'll like help differentiate it. Also because kanji, the characters that they use for their language, can just use one symbol as like a long string of words.
Right, you can just really
So-
cram stuff in.
So they use the pictures, symbols as words and letters. So it's to them it might actually be something you can fit on a screen, but when you string along 4 characters that have like a few words in it.
Yeah. For my Zack Sabre Jr. finisher name comparison, here are a couple. Orienteering with Napalm Death, and his more recent one. And this what I'm about to read is the name of the hold. Hurrah! Another year. Surely this one will be better than the last. The inexorable march of progress will lead us all to happiness.
Yes. That's fucking fantastic. It's amazing that some of these I don't think there's anything interesting about these shows. It's just
that's how they hook you. They know they got nothing going for them, so they just try to have a crazy title. Like you know what? There isn't a movie left with a particularly crazy title.
What do you mean, Raymond and Ray? Come on, you're like, what? They're both
Same
kind of named
name.
Ray. What could this be about?
Apparently about coping with trauma of an absentee father.
Yeah.
Two
or
brothers.
just a comically asshole father, because I'm guessing that's the joke of why they're Raymond and Ray. He's like George Foreman, where he named all his kids the same name.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if the father's name was also Raymond.
Yeah.
It's got Ewan McGregor
Ethan
and
Hawke.
Ethan Hawke in it. It's an Apple TV Plus original movie, which have generally been okay. The only one I can think of is Coda off the top of my head, and that one won a small award called the Academy of Motion Picture
Academy
Arts and Sciences.
Yep.
When
The
did
only
we
other
met?
thing I can remember
heard
is
about
like
that.
Jon Stewart's show, and it's all I remember their TV, like their shows, like Jon Stewart. The Problem with Jon Stewart and
Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon, Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso won a good amount of awards, I think. As well.
Yeah, the
Not
first
mistaken.
season was good.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the second season, and I guess I don't plan to.
I think Apple TV is trying to like put out more quality over content. It doesn't seem like they're coming out with new stuff all the time. As you know, we had that
Well, they should
massive Netflix drop.
Fucking apply that philosophy to their baseball broadcasts because they're fucking dreadful. And I hate that I have to
Yeah.
watch shit on Apple TV. It's like I don't want to have 8 streaming services. Just want to watch the Yankee game.
See what? Because I know a lot of people were a big fan of the shit, what was that one where the split or whatever, Severance, that's what it is. Severance was a show, and that
Indeed it
got a lot
was.
of praise for how decent it was. I'm trying to think of what other good shows were on Apple TV. I mean, other than Ted Lasso. What We Do in the Shadows apparently on
That's on
Apple TV?
I mean it might be on there hosted, but it's I think that's an FX
Let me
or
figure
FXX.
out. Yeah, what are all the original ones? Luck. Oh, Luck was that movie I think that
Oh yeah, that
recently came out.
the most
Like
generic
the
shit.
Pixar. Yeah, the
Oh
generic
yeah, the
Pixar.
fucking that questionable animated movie.
Yeah.
I do recall.
Mhm.
Yeah, but this looks fine. I don't think that I will seek it out unless I hear it gets a lot of praise. I mean, it should be a fine movie, but I'm not gonna like sign up for Apple TV Plus to watch it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which I think reflects the general attitude.
You
Yep,
should sign up
it's
for
not
Apple
that-
TV Plus for Halloween Ends though. You really got to find out how
That's coming
Halloween
to the
How Halloween
gonna end.
ends.
coming to the cock though.
Yeah. Well, get Apple TV just in case.
Peeing on your cock for this show.
Fucking it better. That's all I have to
This-
say about Halloween Ends. Is it fucking better?
This is final trailer. Did they have a trailer for it in
Months
the first
and
place?
months ago, like
Oh,
back
really?
in
That's-
February. Like back in
Right. Because
I
they
don't
had this
remember.
shit. They had this shit ready to go, but you're not gonna release Halloween Ends in August.
Yeah. Well, good for them. Really, good for them.
It's just like I understand that fans of the series are probably happy that there's like a direct sequel, and they ignored all the more questionable Halloween sequels. But at the end of the day, Michael Myers is like 68 years old in the canon.
On a serious note, in this trailer, I feel like this has been done almost in every movie that they've done,
Yeah.
where they have the person getting stalked or the main character, whoever the fuck, say, I keep seeing him. I keep seeing Michael Myers. And then a shot of them looking scared out of a window and then leaves brush by. I feel like that's in almost every trailer, every movie that they have with
I
Mike
think
Myers.
because it's like
Mhm.
the most iconic scene from the original Halloween.
Just because it's iconic doesn't mean you need to shove that in every single movie.
Well, just
you
because
put out.
Halloween's iconic doesn't mean they need to make 25 sequels, but yet here we are.
They got to wrap up this complex and ever-changing story.
This nuanced
I
plot.
think you could have left
mean-
well enough
moving
alone after
parts.
the first one.
There's so
Yeah.
many ends they have to tie up.
I love
There's
this.
so many. I can't name them for you because there's so many, and I would have
Like
ruined some plot. It's just we got to have more ways that Michael Myers can, stab people.
I love this comment from the YouTube. I hope this is the last because she needs to get back on the AARP.
Yeah, right.
Get back to making Activia commercials.
Back to starring in holiday movies with Tim Allen.
Yeah. She's got to get. Yeah, she has to finish this up so she can start doing Santa Clauses.
There are too many people in this comment section that are like overly hyped.
Halloween has its
Yeah.
fans. It's a very popular franchise despite containing very few movies of quality.
We should do like a YouTube comment section breakdown because there's very insightful people in this comment. Like this one viewer, I won't dox him because it seems like it's his entire full name, but no relation. His first name is Jacob. Will this be the end, or will Mike Myers be back? Oh yeah, good point.
He's asking the real questions here.
I mean, it's a question worth asking.
It is a valid question. I have my doubts that this will be the end.
Let's get W's in the chat for Mike Myers. I hope Mike Myers comes out from this with a big fat.
Yeah, he
W.
wins this.
Ooh.
Like that's how it ends.
Yeah, I mean, it could may well.
Halloween wins.
Post credits. Chip and Joanna come in and remodel the house. Michael comes back that Halloween and doesn't recognize it. Turns around and leaves. The end. Oh, maybe get some Property Brothers on this. A little crossover.
Yeah.
Mike Myers Property Brothers edition. I like that.
We have to renovate this house before the serial killer comes back.
We're on a strict deadline. Halloween is when it ends.
Yeah.
Welcome to Halloween Ends. Property Brothers edition.
Sadly,
sponsored by Coke.
Probably a better movie.
I'd fucking watch it.
I want to imagine they're doing it, and it's like you have the mockumentary, like, or the documentary kind of like reality show where they're following Mike Myers as he escapes from the prison and comes toward the house, and then they have like the interview segments with him, but he doesn't say anything because he's Michael Myers. And it's just him sitting in the chair going,
you know, that kind of reminds me of a joke we did. I was in a sketch comedy troupe that released like all of 4 videos in middle/high school, and one of the ones that we did was, we actually did a couple of them, but it was the social life of Michael Myers, and I think we did a joke like that in one of them.
I'm glad I'm following in the footsteps of giants. Giant middle schoolers.
Yeah.
Giant footsteps. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. I imagine there's gonna be some scenes in the Property Brothers one where they get some calls from their contractors being like, "Hey, we all our guys are dead.
All our stone guys, you know, they're not answering their phones."
Yep. All right. Side note, from the offhand comment, you gave me my next idea for the next Blumhouse movie. It's called Attack of the 50 Feet. And you try not to get stomped.
Just 50 feet
by 50 feet.
Yeah. Okay. I gotcha. I was gonna correct your grammar. I'm like, it's 50 foot.
Attack of the 50 feet. Okay, so like, is somebody?
It's just
like
50 disembodied feet.
Is somebody yelling fire in a crowded movie theater, and you know somebody gets trampled to death or something like that? It's just like kind of like a sad movie about.
Exactly.
Some
like the feet all go to watch a movie. They all go watch a Tarantino movie.
Just the feet?
There's like a foot in a trench coat. It's coming, like slipping
side note, the amount of feet that we get in Cobra Kai, and I'm just like, for free?
I did not notice.
I did not notice. I guess you'll have to report in. Was it Dan Schneider levels of fucking feet?
No, I haven't seen Dan Schneider level of work since the last Tarantino movie. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only other foot director I go to watch. But you know, even Dan Schneider won up Tarantino with the amount of foot robotics that he did, because he found new and inventive ways to implement his foot fetish and other people's foot fetishes into his works of art. At the behest of, you know, these child actors, which some may look at as perverse and offensive and abusive.
Some might call it illegal.
Well, no, because it's all art and they agreed to do it. They signed a contract. They knew how much feet was going to be in it. And it's just feet. Can't censor that shit legally.
I don't think that's. Do not take legal advice from the show. I feel like
legally you can't censor.
I feel like it would be worse if they censored the feet, like in just the regular show. They just like censored the feet as as if it was like they weren't allowed to show it on TV.
Dan Schneider.
I'm sure there are countries where that's the case.
Absurd feat.
There's a couple of A24 movies, neither of which strike me as being anything other than
Yeah.
A24
Roster
movies.
fillers.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
starts at noon. A young American
Start-
journalist in Nicaragua falls for an enigmatic British dude.
Which is like the plot of like Archer. That's like an Archer plot.
Yeah, it's fucking you've seen it before.
I've seen it played for comedy more than I've seen it played seriously.
Yeah, and then After Sun, which is about a young girl with fucking depression, I guess.
Yeah. Let's get to the good one.
Sorry, there's a lot of good feet content on YouTube.
Let's cut you off at the feet there, Jake. We're gonna talk about they cloned Tyrone. John Boyega said, "Nope, you ain't gonna Disney Plus me. I'm gonna go be in They Clone Tyrone."
You're not gonna Disney Plus me, but that turns out to be a bad
You're
career
gonna
move.
Netflix me.
Yeah, this is like his second Netflix movie, right? He had the serious one, where he's playing that veteran who holds up the bank.
Yep.
And now this is.
I think that was his one for you,
one
for me.
One for you, one for me, and this is the one for Netflix. And oh boy, is this ever a Netflix movie?
Yes, this is definitely falling. This is in the category of holy crap, this is such a Netflix movie, and also I'm actually probably going to watch it.
Yeah,
we are probably going to watch this.
This is not quite as bad as fucking Resident Evil or Thunder Force, but this is definitely not screaming quality to me.
Yeah.
What was the Zack Snyder Netflix movies that he came out with?
Oh,
Army of the Dead.
Army of the Dead. Wasn't there going to be more of those?
There was another one that was like a tie-in movie, I think.
I watched that.
Yes.
The lockpick one.
There was like a heist one in there too.
Yeah, there was a heist. He was trying to like break into shit, and they like answered one question.
I remember. I remember watching some reviews of Army of the Dead, which was the first movie Zack Snyder was ever director of photography on. And they talked about how fucking terrible the cinematography was.
Yeah. Army of Thieves, I guess, was the tie-in.
Okay,
yeah.
That sounds
Army
about right.
Thieves. Are they're slated to come out with
that was the one with Dave Bautista as a short order cook, right? And we're like, that seems like a more interesting movie than
Army of Dead. I remember watching Army of Dead on my birthday and like laughing at it with my friend just like the entire time. We're bored. We had a big movie projector.
That's fair.
In an
you know what? I take those.
So
I, of all people, will take those.
Seems reasonable.
I think we're drinking. We're definitely drinking.
Correct.
I don't think you can watch it sober legally. I know a lot about legal advice. So
yes, legal expert.
Just like Stars at Noon is my nickname for my lawyer. And
we touched on this.
Yeah.
You'd know if you paid attention.
We said this was basically an Archer plot.
You guys moved that fast over?
We lumped them together with the other A24 movie.
About it.
Yeah. Just kind of put them together.
I was really trying to look into the Army of Dead and more feet stuff.
Sounds about right. Sounds about the right time to move on to the follow-up.
The following up.
As well.
Yeah.
And here we go. Domestic box office weekend 38, 2022, 23rd through 25th. Opening in first week and opening in first place in its first week. Ah, Jesus. Don't Worry, Darling. 19.35 million for the I guess controversial Olivia Wilde movie.
I guess I guess the real only controversy again is the Shia LaBeouf thing, which she actually did when this was coming out. I guess she did like a press junket or made the
They all-
rounds on whatever late night shows, and did like I guess sort of confirm, sort of not confirm that like he quit / got fired. He just stopped working on it.
Well, the production of this, I guess, had a lot of like crazy shit going on behind
Yeah.
the scenes, and I'm sure that'll get brought up a lot by the real reviewers as we take a look into the spotlight. Don't Worry, Darling is not doing so hot critically. It's got a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 48% on Metacritic, and a 2.8% on Google, their rating, and a 6.3 on IMDb, which is kind of mixed reviews, I'd say. But as we all know, no one comes to listen to these fake ass reviewers.
Don't worry, reviewers.
Don't worry, we got real reviewers, and they're coming at you hot with some truth bombs, like this one from ADW426, who writes a review of Don't Worry, Darling, called Great Chemistry, submitted the 27th. I always wished I could live in the 50s. This movie transported me there. It was such a joy to watch. My daughter is a huge Harry fan, and I have to say, he did an excellent job. I loved the whole cast. I felt all the actors had great chemistry together. It was suspenseful and mysterious. The sets, the costumes, the hair, the makeup, the cars, the music. 4-period ellipses. I'm obsessed. I want their homes, their cars, their clothes. I want it all. I feel as though I can't say more without spoiling. And I don't want to spoil. Chris Pine, give me your clothes. No, Chris Pine was amazing and the most stunning I've ever seen him. It was also a treat to see Nick Kroll in this film. He was such a great addition to the cast and story. Olivia Wilde did a fantastic job directing. Bravo. 3 exclamations.
I want this person narrating like a week of my life.
I want your stuff. Give me your hat.
Oh my God. Chris Pine, give me your hat. Give me all your clothes. I am obsessed.
Well, somebody who is not obsessed. Birmingham, England. Birmingham.
Okay. It's from Birmingham.
Wow. Yeah. Apparently, Birmingham, UK, England is his name. There we go. Fuck, they gotta include spaces, IMDb. Come on. Anyways, Birmingham, UK, England says a very poor and very long-winded Black Mirror. Harry Styles wins Worst Actor Award. Added an extra space there, my guy. Thank you. 1 out of 10. This was 20 euros of my hard-earned cash down the drain. I should be saying this in a British
England
accent,
isn't
but I'm
on
not
the
gonna.
euro.
Yeah.
The fuck is he
Maybe
on?
he's got some leftovers. Or maybe there's no pound button. This is euro, right? We put in the comments.
Maybe
Or is this
it's pound.
Is that pound? Is it the pound?
What? Does it look like a fancy L?
I think that's
Yeah.
pounds.
Is that pounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pounds.
Sorry.
20
Sorry, bro.
20 pounds? That's a fucking expensive movie ticket.
Well, I think the UK pound crashed recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even if it's
I'm
on
sorry.
parity with the dollar, that's still an expensive movie ticket.
Yeah. This was 20 pounds. 20 pounds of my hard-earned cash down the drain. I have never witnessed such poor acting from a lead as in Harry Styles. The story, if you can call it that, drags on until at least 20 minutes. When it attempts to explain itself, it's the worst copy of Black Mirror that you can imagine. Apart from mountains, there isn't, apart from the mountains, there isn't even some good cinema to keep one engaged. I really do not know how to think people will enjoy this trash. The lead woman was good, but she got my nerves towards the middle and it was just more of the same. I'm really annoyed. Actually, as £20 is a lot of money, I thought it would be good by the trailer. Films like this are killing cinema, as if it's not struggling enough anyway. Shame, shame on all involved in this mess. Long live the Queen. I assume he said, long live the Queen. 23 out of 34 found that out.
Queen's dead.
Long live the
dead.
Queen. Long live her, even after death, as a ghost.
Well, oh yes, fine. I also saw like one of the ones I also looking at. I'm not gonna do it unless I'll probably do it as the last one because of spoilers. But they also mentioned euros, so this maybe it did well overseas. But this one,
I'm gonna tell you exactly how well it did overseas.
Yeah,
10 million, almost 11.
Oh, not too bad. From let's see, from Kevin Robbins's 6 out of 10. This is one of those movies where the entire film feels like it's missing something. Don't worry, darling. 2022 is a movie my wife and I saw in theaters last night. The storyline follows a 1950s isolated community where the men go to work and the women stay at home and clean and cook every day. Jack and Alice are the next hot couple on the rise, where Jack is rising within his employer, and Alice is rising within the social classes. When her best friend loses her mind and starts revealing things about the community, Alice starts realizing something isn't quite right also. This picture is directed by and stars Olivia Wilde, Booksmart, and also stars Florence Pugh, Midsummer, Harry Styles, Dunkirk, Chris Pine, Star Trek, Lily Kane, If Beale Street Could Talk, and Gemma Chan, Crazy Rich Asians. The storyline for this picture reminded me of a mix of Stepford Wives, WandaVision, and Logan's Run. The premise has a lot of potential and was set up well. However, the movie doesn't unfold as well or intensely as I would have liked it to. The cinematography, attire, look, and feel was perfect. The casting fit the premise well. Pine was a tremendous, quote, villain. I even like the subplots and backstory, but something feels a bit lacking the entire movie. While some of the dramatic scenes didn't work for me, the saran wrap scene and the face against the window sequences, I will say from the discovery of what's going on through the end was entertaining and well executed. Overall, this is one of those movies where the entire film, it feels like it's missing something. You can't put your finger on it, but whatever it is, this is missing it. I would score this a 6 out of 10 and recommend seeing it once. 76 out of 92. Straightforward as shit.
Right. I would like to give a shout out to Monberger, who I think we've read a review from before. He submitted a review called "The Wait Is Over," which features the most egregious word usage error I've ever seen doing one of these reviews. Where he said, "I will start with Florence Pugh, Carrie, as in like the name, apostrophe S, the film, rather than Carrie's the film." But that's the
Stephen King's novels.
that's the only memorable thing from that. So I will instead read Dr. Deadpool 69's review of Don't Worry, Darling, which I would have thought you'd find down in the lower stars, to be honest, from the username. Brilliant. Ellipses. Seriously. Plot twist lovers, please buy your tickets. Olivia Wilde is absolutely a genius. You can hate her for her personality, but this movie was fantastic. I know there was drama between her and Flo, and Harry and Chris, but in my opinion, that was just clever marketing. All actors/actresses did an amazing job. I have to highlight Florence's performance because she is so talented and was perfect cast for the main character. And Harry. Oh, Harry. This boy surprised me with his acting skills. I didn't think he would be that good. The whole story went pretty well from the beginning, and those little details/flashes just made it more psychic. Only the ending was a little bit questionable for me, but it's all right. 5.5. I found that helpful.
Alrighty. This one's not a Scott, or maybe he is. Scoot M16. 1 out of 10. The Razzies are heating up. It's a neck and neck race between this and Bodies for Worst Picture. Though Pearl, Orphan 2, and Nope are strong contenders as well.
This guy just hates
This
everything.
is honestly as good a race for Worst Picture as the race was in 1995 for Best Picture at the Oscars. Truly a remarkably abysmal year for film thus far, but there's still time for redemption. Movies like this year, like Mad God, gave me faith. Give me faith. Can't read tonight. Too much margarita. I mean, where to even begin with Darling? I guess I'll start by saying it's probably the slowest paced, most boring script I've seen come to life, if you can call it that, on screen. This guy is so snarky. Some are calling this a slow burn, yet something has to be burning to start. For that to be the case. This is just starting at an unlit candle in the hot baking sun, waiting for something to happen as you grow less and less patient. Darling is 2 hours of nothingness. Nothing happens during the entirety of this movie. And the twist at the ending is so lazy and uninspired that I wish the movie just cut to black midway through without even the credits to follow. Pew is literally just her character from Midsommar. As in, she just sobs and is in hysterics throughout the whole movie. Harry Styles plays ... Harry Styles. This movie has a $30 million budget, yet it basically takes place in a single house in a desert. Where did the money go? This guy's asking the real questions. If this movie didn't have the name it has attached to it, not a single person would ever mention it, let alone praise it. But because of the, quote, star power and added drama to the press, it's getting all the attention. Far more worrisome is that this movie will probably make a profit. Don't let the star power fool you. Don't worry, Darling is worse than what you would find after scrolling for hours through the abyss that is Netflix or Hulu horror sections. Hard-earned 1 out of 10. 13 out of 30 found that out.
So for context, the 1995 Best Picture Award nominees were Four Weddings and a Funeral, The Shawshank Redemption, Forrest Gump, Quiz Show, and Pulp Fiction.
It's a strong lineup.
That is a strong lineup. I heard 3 that I definitely knew and are very good contenders. I don't know what the other ones.
Quiz Show is very good. I've never seen Four Weddings and a Funeral, but it's got a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes.
People love it. It's good stuff. So this next one is spoilers for anyone who still may want to see this. I know we're probably not going to see this. Just going out on a limb. But this is from Alejandro El Rom. 5 out of 10. Now, despite the very Latino accent I gave it, we're gonna do this in a posh English accent, and 5 out of 10. The Village plus the 13 hour, but wrong. The worrying thing about this film is the €5 I spent to see it. Florence, my dear, you're doing great.
You got a much
but you've
better
gotten
deal
your...
than the other guy.
Yeah. You're doing great, but you've gotten yourself into a mess that even you can't save. The costumes are very cool. I think that's the only thing I won't complain about. The repetitive ending and the strident music are already 2 feet apart. Direction, correct. Screenplay, here's where we're going to spoilers. Like any viewer who stands before a film with a mysterious world of which only the protagonist is aware that something is not working as it should, I have the habit of wanting to be clever and try to figure out what will be the plot twist. Well, let's go in Liverpool real quick. Well, after half an hour, and given the rules that this world presented to me, patriarchal society with a great division of sexes, recreation of the 40s, 50s, a place accessible only to men, the dissociation of the protagonist between reality and fiction, etc., one already deduces that, oh, surprise, it is a feminist critique of the control that men impose on women. So, what better way of control than a virtual reality? With this background, I keep my interest thinking that we'll have a good justification. Fatal error. The last section is a string of nonsense, one after another in free fall. Now, if you'll excuse me to finish, I'm going to let out a little more bile with some of the inconsistencies or doubts that this movie has generated in me. 1. I understand that maybe you don't have all the details of the simulation fully integrated, but where does the plane come from and what do you put it there for? Same goes for the tremors. Are they game updates or what? If the protagonist already went to the offices once and touched the crystal, why didn't she wake up then? And Margaret, more of the same, why didn't she try to wake up? 3. Frank, man, you could have created more variations in the backgrounds of the users. You have created 3 generic templates for all of the people. 4. Are the guys in red NPCs or are they misogynists who like to work kidnapping women just like that? 5. Wanting to kill your customers for wanting to leave the virtual reality doesn't seem to be the best commercial idea for your product. 6. Dying inside kills you in reality. Is this the Matrix? I don't see it very coherent. 7. Are you telling me that these guys, who are such a pain in the ass that they are incapable of having a healthy relationship with their partners in reality and resort to a fantasy, are able to wash them, feed them, and give them a drink while they are offline and at the same time work 8 hours in real life? I could go on, but I want to sleep. Good night. 4 out of 6.
Very, very posh indeed.
Very posh.
Porsche.
All right.
Anyone who's actually from the island knows that that was just god awful.
Yeah, so that's Don't Worry, Darling. And it has displaced the Woman King, which is king no longer, I suppose.
Oh no!
How far did that fall? Only
Just one spot. 42.2%.
We should do that next week.
Based on the
Not this
reviews,
week.
based
Well,
on the
already
reviews we
viewed
read
the
last
Woman
week.
King. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Shit.
based on the reviews we read last week, it thought
That's
it was
right.
doing well.
Yeah, Kevin
Man.
Smith.
Kevin's
Controversial figure, I suppose. Avatar's 2022 re-release. This, I agree with that one-star reviewer who said this has been a very bad year for movies because here we are, with Avatar re-release, opening in third for $10.529 million.
Like the coronavirus years were better than this shit. Because you had the war with Grandpa.
Yeah, it's true. It was holding down the fort.
man, it's time to re-release their secret weapon, Top Gun Maverick.
Oh shit! Top Gun Maverick has almost slid out of the top 10. It hasn't, but it might be there next week.
They finally decided to give up on it.
I think it's on like Paramount Plus now or something.
Yeah.
Barbarian is dropping into fourth from second last week, down 25.6%. Despite opening in 550 new theaters, it's brought in just a hair under 32 million worldwide. See How They Run is down a spot and down 36.4%, hair under 2 million, and that gets in the top 5. So box office pretty weak. Pearl slides down 3 spots, 1.9 million as well, down 39.2% despite opening in 47 theaters. Bullet Train still hanging out in the top 10 in Safe Week. $1.84 million, down 28.8% and out of nearly 700 theaters. DC League of Super Pets in number 8, also down a spot, only down 20% despite leaving 405 theaters, 1.7 million for League of Super Pets. And Top Gun Maverick slides down 3 spots, continuing its descent in its 18th week. 1.66 million, down only 27.9% despite leaving almost 600 theaters. 1.472 billion.
Let's be straight here. It is leaving on its own terms. It is not leaving because it's not getting money anymore.
Yeah. They had themselves a hit. The Invitation continues its precipitous drop down the leaderboards, although it is up from last week. I'm sorry, no, I misread that. Minions Rise of Gru Ran's at the top 10 with $1.06 million. How much has that made? $920 million worldwide. Yeah, so that's the top 10. Brahmastra Part 1 Shiva. Just getting out of all the theaters. It was an experiment. Yep. They dipped their toe in it. They made their bag, and now they're out.
I guess we'll be able to catch it on Disney Plus. Maybe.
I'm sure it's, if it's not already on there, it will. It will.
I hope so. That'd be dope if they put it on there. I feel like are there other other language stuff on Disney Plus? Have they dipped their toes into like multilingual, multicultural side stuff? At least regional, other than regional stuff, because like this would definitely be something to put in like Indian Disney Plus. And then I know they put anime. They put a lot of anime in like Japanese or Malaysian Disney Plus.
I can't say that I know.
Yeah.
All I know. Yeah, go ahead.
Do we have time for a 5-minute review?
Sure.
Okay. I'll make it a short 5-minute review. Some would say less than 5 minutes. I watched in the last couple weeks Bee and Puppy Cat, Lazy in Space. Are you or a loved one a chronic Tumblr user? Do you know someone in your family who is a secret cookie goblin? Do you spend way too much time on the internet and watch long-form video essays? Then Bee and Puppy Cat, Lazy in Space might be for you. It's the too cute story of a jobless millennial trying to make money by doing temp jobs, but in space, with her not quite a dog and not quite a cat companion. It's quirky to the max and has a lovely little soundtrack and has lots of voice actors of the notoriety type, such as Aaron Hansen, Natalie Wynn, Kumail Nanjiani. Just the randomest people voice acting in this show. Go watch it with your girlfriend on the couch with, I don't know, a blanket and a bong. Highly recommend.
Okay. And with that, we talk gaming news, which this week is actually pretty deep topic. There's quite a bit to discuss.
Well, let's get the sad news out of the way first. I mean, we all saw it coming. There was not even a doubt amongst many of our minds. I know, Kurt, you really we're looking forward to more content coming out for Stadia and more platforms to utilize
And now you're in
Stadia's
luck. It's breaking download records.
moderate
Most
technologies. Yeah, Stadia is going away, Kurt. I'm sorry. I know you're really heartbroken.
Yeah.
Because they never released the Morbius game on Stadia.
Jake's secret backer of Stadia here.
No. I knew Stadia was had nine nails in the coffin, just like 1 pound away from being sunk immediately.
What really sealed the death of Stadia is when Google came out and said that they weren't going to shut down Stadia. that was when you knew.
That was literally like a separate, like, you know how Google does that thing where you don't even have to go to websites to get your answer. It's just like AI pulls it up and like throws it up at the top of the Google search results. It had that for Stadia. It had a separate Google sponsored box saying, no, Stadia's not going anywhere, my dude. Don't worry, dude. You got your controller, you got your streaming games in 4K HD resolution, zero latency issues, play them all, my man.
So
on the plane.
I've seen quite a few articles today about, Stadia developers supposedly being shocked that Stadia was going to be shut down. Like, I don't know. Everyone could see the writing on the wall for years now.
You can't blame them because they're behind. It's the
lag
time.
from the cloud.
It's the latency. Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if like they did have projects lined up. They had like stuff metrics they had to meet and deals that they were trying to do, like that were high up in Stadia. I don't know, whatever Stadia program that they have going on. And then, from the top, they just drop this on them and say, no, we're axing it at the end of the year.
Well, if the platform had worked, I think it would have had a greater shot at success. But
now, is it the platform? Now, I wonder if it's not because the platform doesn't work, or if it's because it's too expensive to upkeep and it's not profitable.
Well,
this is something.
I feel like if the platform worked better and more people were able to like actually play games on Stadia at all, let alone in like a playable state, which a lot of people, even with like really good fiber connections located near a fucking data center for Stadia, had problems just even fucking connecting. The whole rollout of Stadia was a massive fucking clusterfuck. And I'm actually surprised that it survived this long, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised that they didn't try to expand it more into different areas, because I feel like in the US there's a lot of options for people. And this would be like a good product, because I heard a lot of comments saying, "Oh, shame we never got it here in India. Like we never even had the chance to try it out." Which I remember a while back, when India did this big like Wi-Fi and free public Wi-Fi or whatever solution, it opened up a lot of like just people out of nowhere just being introduced to the internet, which sounds bizarre to just be happening a few years ago. But imagine if that was happening with like Stadia and even more advanced games, because it was huge with mobile games. Mobile games blew up with like users in India. Same thing with TikTok. There's apps in general went off the charts in
so
India
many people
whenever
there.
Well, yes, exactly. But there's also a lot of people who are like, I want to play a game. And I want something on my phone or something portable. And Stadia kind of offered that option. They don't know quality.
I mean,
It
just
so this is your first fucking forte into Tomb Raider or Spider-Man or some whatever flagship game that they sold with this.
The idea behind Stadia, I guess, which is cloud gaming basically, and there are a lot of other fucking things now that offer cloud gaming, and it seems to work better than Stadia did. But it's like it's all hit or miss. It's extremely hit or miss. Like even with the same equipment, Xbox Game Pass has a cloud gaming feature. It used to be called xCloud. I don't think it has a fucking name anymore. And I use that quite a bit. And some days the quality is pretty good. There's not a lot of latencies. Other days it sucks on the same network connection, same hardware, all that. So it's inherently inconsistent. And the way that they set up Stadia, where you had to purchase games at full retail price,
Yeah.
and pay an additional subscription fee on top of that if you wanted better quality streaming. It was doomed to fail from the jump, I feel. And I'm impressed that A, it lasted this long, and B, that Google has decided that they're going to refund everything to people. They're going to refund their purchases and stuff. The only things that kind of sucks about it is that if Stadia for some reason was your primary gaming platform, all your save data is going bye-bye when it shuts down, which kind of sucks, but at least you'll get your money back.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the bare minimum they could do for a fucking bungle of this magnitude, a mega bungle, you might even say.
Yeah.
I mean, you could play for 60 minutes. Wow, yeah, you could play Hot Wheels Unleashed for 60 minutes, the Game of the Year edition.
Hot Wheels.
That's
I'm really
insane.
sad that wasn't good, or it didn't review well. Did it? Maybe I shouldn't say didn't review well. I should say never caught on, because I haven't actually looked at reviews for the game.
Wheels.
I heard rumblings that it was like it just kind of fell into all the microtransaction.
It's got
garbage
good
pile.
reviews. It's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam, and IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. Not that that means shit, because IGN will give anything a 9 out of 10.
I also think that the games that are just being offered, they do not look great.
Yeah, it's because like there wasn't a lot of adoption of it in the early days because it just didn't fucking work for a lot of people, and like the equipment arrived asymmetrically in a lot of cases. Like people would get the controller, but not like the fucking Chromecast that they needed with their Founders Edition bundle to use it, and so it had a bad launch, and it didn't have a lot of user base, so Google never really wanted to invest in it, and it was a vicious circle.
Yeah, there's so many games that just look like they are not they are just taking the bottom of the barrel and offering it for Stadia. It also might be because they can't really do those bigger games in cloud gaming that work well. But if they're like a pixelated game that don't require that much like processing power,
I think
sure they can throw it up.
lack of games probably more to do with licensing issues than anything else. Here's some news that'll make you feel like you're living in Minority Report. Bruce Willis has sold his likeness to a firm that specializes in deepfakes, so that his digital twin can now star in movies and commercials in his stead.
Yep, I think he's the first one to do this. This is, I'm pretty sure this is the dam breaking for the first time. This is the precedent, the pilot.
Yeah, which I mean, we've seen likenesses of dead people in movies before. Famously in Rogue One, you had Grand Moff Tarkin revived from the grave. And deepfake technology is getting too good for my comfort level. We're almost at the point now where you can't believe anything that you see or hear unless it's like happening directly in front of you.
Did you watch the commercial that they showed as the?
I did. Oh, they actually had like a tester.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is like from, or if this is like from that firm, or if this is just.
Bruce Willis deepfake commercial.
Yeah,
Let's see
if I can. I don't know if we'll get in trouble for.
This. I don't think this is. I don't know if this is related to this. Are you talking about the Russian ad?
Yeah. Is that it?
Okay, because that's from a year ago, which I think was before. he sold
It's a
his
different
rights.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's just a deep fake thing.
Deep Cake is the company in question here, and they say they hired the digital twin of the Die Hard actor, so his digital likeness and voice can be superimposed onto a body double, so that the star doesn't even need to make it to the film set. It's not great. I don't love it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that he would be the first one just because of all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if
that
he's cashing out entirely, like, he's retired now. He did all his fucking geezer teaser Lionsgate movies, and now he's seized an opportunity to squeeze one last drop of blood from the stone, and I can't really fault him for it. I just don't like the Pandora's box that this is probably about to open up.
It doesn't look all that great. You definitely know something's fishy though when you see it.
Well, I mean,
I'm
sure this wasn't
commercial
made with a lot of money behind it.
Well, because you also know that like Bruce Willis is not that young.
Well,
So when you kind of see like a younger Bruce Willis, you're like,
I can see the face kind of sliding around on it.
Yeah, and he also has no hair, so maybe that makes it easier. Just a hairless model. Like they're just gonna go after all the hairless actors and try to get their likeness.
So there's a lot of hardware news this week, from Intel and from AMD, and a little bit from NVIDIA. We talked last week, or maybe it was the week before, about RTX 4000 series, and AIB models of the 4090 have started popping up on sites like Newegg, and several of them carry a price tag of more than $2,000, as we all kind of feared would be the case. If the Founders Edition was coming in at $1,600, it's too much for a single component. Do not buy. All right, now on to other hardware news. Ryzen 7000 Zen 4 has dropped. Reviews and benchmarks are out for that. You can pick them up today, but should you? The question is largely, kind of depends. I really don't know, other than like if you're a professional where upgrading to a 7950X will materially affect your throughput to let you make more money from jobs. Hard to recommend upgrading to the 7000 series, especially with the pricing situation for jumping to AM5. I think that more so than the processors themselves is the holdback. The lower SKUs, the 7600X is not a good value at $300. It is a little bit better than a 5600X, and not that much better, actually worse. All these CPUs really are not quite a material upgrade in terms of gaming performance, at least over the 5800X3D, which you can buy now for $350, and chances are you may already have an AM4 motherboard and DDR4 memory that you will not need to purchase new. Unlike if you were to buy into one of these. They also have some weird behavior. They're designed to turbo up to a maximum temperature, not necessarily a frequency. They'll hit as high a frequency as they can support, but the CPU will hit it in a full synthetic workload, will hit 95 degrees Celsius. Regardless of your cooling solution, it'll keep turboing until it hits that temperature threshold, and then it'll back off a little bit. AMD has said that this is how the part was designed. It will not affect the long-term life of the silicon, but what that means for the end user is that your performance you get out of this chip is going to vary considerably depending upon how robust your cooling solution is. So in addition to needing an AM5 motherboard which of the ones that
Mhm.
have launched, the median price is $425. DDR5 memory, which at the time of this recording is still rather expensive. You will also need to probably beef up your cooling solution, even for a chip like the 7600X, which boosts
Mhm.
the same way.
Now that seems like a pretty like a regular principle, like to me, that like all your parts should be of roughly the same generational level, but to include the cooling in that too.
Oh, and
Something that you really shouldn't have to worry about.
so
Otherwise, you've just bought a subpar chip for a very high
an
price.
interesting thing about that too is that these for most of the life of Zen as a chip architecture, the CPUs have come with a cooler in the box.
Oh.
These do not. And I think I see
Oh.
why, because they didn't want people to bitch about how shitty the stock cooler was because their CPU was hitting 95 degrees. It's a very bizarre chip, and I don't think it makes sense for a lot of people. I think you're better off sticking on AM4, at least
Mhm.
until they release the FreeDV cache refresh, which I'm sure they will do, because Intel this week has announced Raptor Lake, their highly anticipated 13th generation processor, which has some performance weirdness of its own. So I'm showing on the screen here the main graph that they say, oh yeah, we're taking back the lead in gaming performance. They showed another graph where they were still worse than, or not materially better than the 5800X 3D, which is not the current part. And they did not compare against Ryzen 7000, which, in fairness to Intel, had only been out for like a day when this presentation was had. But they had a graph comparing the 13900K to the 12900K, and it is the same. It's actually worse in a couple of games. It's worse in Horizon Zero Dawn and Metro Exodus and World of Tanks ray tracing and
Mhm.
Grand Theft Auto 5. All about the same or worse slightly than the previous gen 12900K. And the games where it does beat it by a significant amount are shit like League of Legends, Rainbow Six Siege, Dota 2, F1 22. Not exactly hard to run games. But
Right.
to Intel's credit, they are not really bumping up pricing as AMD did. So you can expect the 1300 or 13600K to run you a little under $300, which is less than recommended customer pricing will be about $319. So it's about on parity with the 3600 or 7600X, and has purportedly better performance. We'll have to see how the actual benchmarks stack up, and you should never buy anything based on what the manufacturer tells you it will do, because they are trying to sell you the product. That's just a general rule of thumb. But Raptor Lake looks like it'll be a strong competitor to the Ryzen 7000. I think this will probably be the most competitive CPU market since, I don't know, 2010 in terms of Intel and AMD's current generations being very close in performance. I have a hard time recommending Intel simply because they don't really support their sockets for a very long time, which it's kind of rough to have to upgrade a motherboard every couple generations. But if you are someone who doesn't really upgrade their CPU that often, that might not be important to you. So wait for it all to come out and compare benchmarks yourself. But the exciting news coming from Intel actually has to do with their GPUs. Intel is entering the GPU market with their Arc series graphics cards, which they are launching the Arc 770, which will cost $329, and the Arc A750, which will cost $289. Both of these GPUs will be available for purchase on October 12th. Intel said in their keynote that they don't like the industry trend with graphics card prices going up and up and up and up, and they are trying to bring value back to the mid-range. And purportedly, Intel Arc has better ray tracing performance than Ampere does. We will have to see how that shakes out. And they are expecting in rasterization operations that the A770 will be somewhere between a 3060 Ti and 3070 in terms of performance. But at $329, its closest price competitor is the vanilla 3060, which is roughly on par in terms of rasterization operations with a 1080 Ti, which is a pretty good card at $329. And the A750 is purportedly to also outperform the RTX 3060, and that'll cost you less than $289. I really hope that these live up to it.
We would hope so. I like affordable options.
More competition in the marketplace is good. I like the fact that, Intel, this is their first swing at this, and they didn't quite make something that was going to be able to compete at the high end. So they decided to price aggressively and target a market segment that has largely been neglected by the major card manufacturers for a while now.
Yeah, that's business 101, baby. Find your niche and sell lower than your competitors.
And it's not to say that, the next generation of ARC graphics cards, or whatever the fuck they call the next generation, won't have an option that can compete at the top end of the pool. So this more competition in the marketplace is only a good thing for consumers. There is obviously some trepidation with picking up a graphics card from a new manufacturer. What's the software support going to look like? How good are the drivers? What is the performance on things like I've heard, tale that this doesn't run DX11 very well. So all these things are going to have to get sorted out, and I'm really pulling for Intel here, not because any corporation is your friend. They are not, but because I really want to see NVIDIA, and to a lesser extent AMD, get a healthy wake-up call that you need to put out quality options at more affordable prices.
Yeah.
We're talking about corporations are your best friend. Why else would Blizzard be trying to put out a more LGBTQ plus players announcement for their Overwatch League? Huh?
I don't know, Jake.
Can we?
It's almost as
Why
if
else would they do that?
if PR is important to the bottom line.
You're when you get banned, it'll put a little rainbow in the corner.
Yeah.
Your ban notification. I heard that they're gonna be recording voice chat now.
I've also
I'm
heard
assuming
that.
for moderation and banning
Hate speech,
record keeping.
I'm sure, yeah.
I've heard, yeah, that's been a big threat that's been looming over online play for a while. I think it came out with I don't know if it was the PS4, PS5, or if it was the new Call of Duty game that happened, but they were talking about recording online game speech so they could, lobby speech or whatever, so they could get harassment or in-game voice chat. But yeah, there's an article about saying Overwatch 2 will record every naughty word you say in voice chat. I believe they might do that also in Valorant. That's Riot's the new system, similar to Valorant's voice evaluation, is aimed at combating toxicity in Overwatch 2. I mean, that there's a part of that makes sense. I mean, in a lot of voice chat heavy games, Overwatch, Valorant, League of Legends, you do get people just saying some really awful toxic stuff.
Well, we all
where
live through
it's
the Call of Duty
it's pretty easy to moderate like text chat because you can just set up a bot that will record, or you can censor out negative
Mm-hmm.
language. People find a way around it, but whatever. And that's easier to probably pull that data off and review an account, where voice chat would be a little bit harder if they're not recording it. So it does kind of make sense, but it also brings into question like,
It's a little Big
is that an
Brother.
invasion of
Yeah.
privacy? Yeah, is that an invasion of privacy? What if you're talking about something more private? What if you're talking about something sensitive in chat, like if you're with like friends, a group of friends or whatever? I mean, probably not the time or place.
Yeah.
But then again, also, if you're with a group of friends that you feel comfortable talking about a private situation, you're probably not using in-game voice chat. You're probably using Discord.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like on principle, it's a little sketch, but I don't think it's, like you said, I don't think anyone's really using in-game voice chat to talk about serious matters or anything particularly private. And privacy in this day and age is kind of a myth.
Yeah, there's really easy ways to combat it. Honestly, even if they are recording, you, push to talk is always a thing. You could mute yourself permanently and just not enable voice chat. But if you do want to have the option for voice chat, push to talk's a really easy option to where when you want to talk, allow yourself to talk. That way, nothing accidentally gets picked up, nothing gets blurted out for whatever reason. I think a lot of the issues that you're going to see probably is people like goofing on other people. Like if you have a friend over or something and they just scream the N word into your mic and it automatically picks that up. And then I don't know if they're going to go that far as like automatic like banning or account reporting, unless your thing is like
I
reported.
think this is more of like an issue of like philosophy than it is something that's going to practically affect a lot of the player base. Well, I mean, at least I guess the thing we haven't really considered here is that we all play on PC, where you have alternative options to communicate, like Discord. That might not necessarily be an option for console players.
There are alternatives for other things as well. I don't know about PlayStation. I think PlayStation has it, but I know Xbox has the Windows chat. So I've voice chatted with my cousin through Windows voice chat lobby, and I've been playing on PC, and he was playing on Xbox. So there is alternatives, but it's extremely limited.
Yeah.
Like there's no VOD. I don't know if there's Discord. There might be a Discord, but it's probably not as intuitive.
You probably
or
can't
easy.
use it simultaneous with a game. Also, there might be a limitation there. But
There might be.
we'll see if it even comes to pass. I think this is a problem that's not gonna be too big. I don't think it's gonna affect too many people. But it is kind of skeevy, just on a philosophical note, to be recorded without. Well, I mean, you are technically giving your consent because you're agreeing to a EULA, but it is kind of
it's kind of like forced consent.
Yeah.
It's like you can't play the game without giving consent. So are you actually giving consent?
It's coerced. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's again, hey, if you really have that big of an issue with it, if it does come to fruition,
I'm sure some lawyer somewhere is
chat.
getting ready to ask you to sign up for a class action lawsuit.
Oh, sure.
All right. And speaking of class action lawsuits, Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Many opportunities for lawsuits, both class action and otherwise.
I was thinking the amount of times I'm like, you can just easily press charges against anybody, especially when the adults come into play and children.
Yeah,
now as well.
There are so many times where I said aloud, I'm like, now would be a good time to call the police. Why hasn't anyone filed a restraining order?
I feel like the last 4 seasons, especially like season 3 and 4, definitely were like, here's why they don't just go to the authorities. They went to the city council, and the council's like, I guess they should do the karate tournament. Fuck it. Creases. I totally have no idea what's going on with this nice crease fellow.
He looks so wholesome and trustworthy.
Also, just Terry Silver's just endless supply of cash. Just
He is.
Well, they showed he
is
was a wealthy
Bill-
man in the last season.
Yeah.
Just
and wealthy
none of
just means infinite money.
yeah.
Not
It's
just
like,
wealthy. Just,
did he take a loan on his? Maybe he got his like. You have a lot side up in stocks. I mean, that's usually where like majority of wealth comes from. So maybe he just has an infinite amount of like loans coming out that he's like,
He
yeah,
invested
sure, fuck it.
heavily in Apple after the
Yeah.
events of Karate Kid 3.
They should have thrown with all these flashbacks. They should have thrown a thing where he's like talking to Chris. He's like, "Hey, I heard about this new thing called Apple. You want to invest with me?"
and Chris is like, no,
No,
I'm
I
not.
gotta
Chris
get
is like-
this Johnny Lawrence guy ready for the All Valley.
I got this kid. He's got the same name as me, and I like pears. No, I'm an Android guy. Sorry.
What the fuck's that? Don't worry about it.
Yo,
It'll be big in
Fucking,
a
what is
couple
it? It's
decades.
a banking machine? That shit's for nerds.
Your kids are gonna love it.
You might not be ready for that yet.
Yeah. there was
Cobra Kai season 5, where I think there was, so it's peak. I think it was best described as peaks and all valleys, because they finally
That's a good title for the podcast.
yeah,
Peaks and all valleys.
peaks and all valleys, because it starts out at least trying to wrap up the last vestiges of grounded realism in the show in the beginning, and by the end of this shit, this is fucking it's Star Wars writing.
Yeah,
where they're just it's all the way back to the 80s, and this is Godfather the Master level.
Yeah, I think that
of like cheese.
The show kind of jumped the shark at the end of season 2 with the brawl for all in the in the county middle school where Mikkel fucking breaks his back.
I'm even okay with this.
Yeah, but
this is now when we're jumping the shark where he's like,
yeah.
No, all valley tournament. I'm going bigger than that.
The world.
Global tournament.
The world will belong
the world
to
dojo.
Kai.
But here's the thing about it, though, and Peter and I were talking about it this morning at work. Like, what is the downside if Cobra Kai succeeds? Like, who gives a shit?
Mhm.
How does this negatively affect anyone who's not directly involved in this rivalry? Why should anyone care?
Yeah.
No, exactly. This is like the Skynet. This is like the Skynet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn something bigger.
Just quick throwing this out for anyone who. All right. So if you haven't watched the show, don't worry about this until you watch the first 4 seasons. If you have watched the first 4 seasons, you're already in this deep like we are. So you're
too
gonna
deep.
watch it. There's our recommendation. Fuck you. Okay. Remember in so when we talked about season 4, it ended with Cobra Kai winning the All Valley and therefore gaining karate dominion over the valley,
Over the San Fernando Valley.
like the charter was bequeathed unto them.
And
the
business deal just in words. There's like no contract written
Yeah,
up.
it was
nobody has to.
I would call it a handshake agreement, but no one shook hands. So it's not even that.
Yeah,
I guess it's a verbal contract because there's witnesses and whatnot. But
yeah, so the storyline for me being just kind of thinking about what might happen would be like, okay, Cobra Kai won. We get to see their reign of terror over the town as Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang form the underground resistance to try and take karate back. And in that, you would see the oppression that Cobra Kai inflicts upon the people, thus justifying why Johnny and Jimmy LaRusso,
Danny,
Randy LaRusso, Danny Johnny and Danny have to why they have to fight back and why they fought so hard in the previous seasons. We did not get that until like one scene in episode 7. And
kind of.
and even then,
it all seemed like pretty fucking weak.
The stakes had never been lower until the end.
But
in which
they
case
play
they just
it up
fucking,
like it's fucking a matter of life or death and national security. Like Cobra Kai cannot be allowed to succeed. like Skynet's gonna launch if Cobra Kai has a presence in this fucking karate tournament. Like,
Yeah, 'cause
we're
it's like,
talking
they don't
about
have
them entering into this tournament.
like they're just really good at marketing. That's all they
Yeah.
are. It's just
And
they're
they're
really
kind
good
of
at marketing, and they have a cool logo.
right, and
They're
they're
Apple.
kind of assholes. Like, I guess they never show they never show the people who learn Cobra Kai being dicks to everyone like they did in previous seasons.
At least not
They
to
just
an extent where, it's completely unprovoked. Like
well,
there's a rivalry, obviously, and that escalates at times, but it's
Right.
there's like beef happening with like the same people, like the bully with Keen and the LaRusso kid, that like
Mhm.
continues to happen. But there's like nobody else is like, yeah, no, they never bothered me much. Like, why would I care? So when when you start to think of it like that, there's like, why are we hating Cobra Kai again? Like, is it just because they're that good at marketing and like they kind of like it's all offense first and not
you
defense?
have you have a problem with the people running Cobra Kai from, several decades in the past.
He's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like that was the one thing that got me, and I guess it's like spoilers, but like whatever,
We're
kind
we're
of
in
whenever
spoiler
it's
That's why I
talk.
like,
said that in the beginning, like,
yeah,
we can
it's
spoiler all of this shit.
every time they were like, oh my god, do you know what like Terry Silver's like true ambitions are? Like, no, what is it?
He wants to
It's like
take Cobra Kai
he's
global.
like Cobra Kai going global. That's what. Oh my god, is he a madman? It's like,
His ambition extends far beyond the valley. So, who the fuck
Are
takes
you
karate
So does
anymore?
fucking McDonald's.
Who the
just
Wow.
don't join.
Oh no, the six
it's
people
2020.
looking to take karate are gonna have to pick Cobra Kai. Oh no.
It's like they're envisioning a dystopian future where like it's 2025 and the world government has decided mandatory Cobra Kai training for all youth ages 5 and above. 5 to 18 must join Cobra Kai or face the gulag.
The extent that this fucking goes to, like, an arson is committed, like,
Yep.
threats against people's lives are committed, and an attempted murder happens. Several attempted murders,
murder,
actually.
massive arson. I was waiting
Prison
for
breaks.
I was waiting for the twist where it was going to be like, oh no, Mike Barnes and Terry Silver were already working in cahoots, and he like got a big insurance claim on his building, so now he's wealthy and he's going to help open up more doors. Like that's a better
That's a
thing
good
than
twist.
just like
Yeah.
that's a better twist than just like Mike Barnes, the local crackhead and furniture salesman, lost his shop, lost his wife because he was actually a bad businessman.
Yeah.
What did he
Turns
say?
out he
leveraged.
Leveraged everything.
up to the tits and
It's
had
like-
like
But
crap
you don't have an
insurance.
insurance policy on your fucking nest egg here. Yeah,
Who is
This
this
is the same-
for?
Frankly, I'm surprised that a man that fully leveraged his business and put bad insurance on it would have such a bad idea as to attack the main antagonist head on on his home turf. Really surprising, that his character would be that naive.
Also, instantly blame Daniel LaRusso. Hey, you came and talked to me about Terry Silver, and now my place burned down. My wife left me. You did that.
Yeah, like fucking and talk about as we talk about Daniel LaRusso, I have the rules for the Cobra Kai drinking game. It's been established. It's 3 very simple rules. Drink whenever Johnny drinks. Take a drink whenever Danny has a freak out in a public location and or is like framed as being like a weird psycho in public, and take a drink whenever 2 large groups of kids fight in a public space.
Johnny is also like the most inconsistent human being ever to
Right, 'cause
exist.
they have to
in
shoehorn in
media.
the fall and redemption every season.
Every season. Like he's got to be at some point
think he'd
in like
learn
a
by now.
really low. Like, all right, He's gonna be a future father.
I kind of
He-
disagree
he's
with that take for this season. I think they did a good job of like resolving his character arc.
maybe I'm thinking.
It-
Well, okay.
I will
Does
say
this-
they played it
th-
up. Like they actually kind of
Like his
addressed it fully
character
that,
grows, and I don't think he ever really goes back to being where he was in the earlier seasons.
Does this show want me to think that like there are rules that exist in California? He's just fucking drinking and driving on the reg with witnesses for a job.
It's because he's rich.
Like what? What the fuck are you doing? He's just casually drinking and driving with a pissing. Like, that's like just exposing yourself to somebody, and like you're supposed to have me root for him. And then on the other hand, he'll like put together this thoughtful team building exercise for his two son figures that he's got.
But one of them is
I don't
actually
know.
his son.
Well, that's debatable, but
The factually,
we don't know how that
it is his
Shannon
son.
could have gotten around. You don't trust her.
Don't put that don't even bring that up because I know Cobra Kai, the writers are listening right now because they made this show expressly for us, and they're gonna fucking pull that card where Robbie is not even related to Johnny.
They also I feel like the beginning of the season, to try to get like some actual like timeline going. I feel like the beginning of the season did not need to happen. Like with Miguel going
No.
down to Texas. Yeah, Texas. The other
'Cause-
Texas, Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because despite the fact that season 4 had the most cliffhangery, like we're definitely gonna pick this up next season. We're gonna continue this story. It had the most like continuity into that season. The writers somehow came into season 5 not knowing what the fuck to do, and they wanted to tie up the thing that they set up with massive expediency.
Yeah,
They're like, oh wait, this is a dumb subplot. We have to let's close this in like 2 episodes.
I mean the location, the going down to Mexico thing,
And they couldn't even resist. They couldn't resist putting the yellow filter on. They put the Mexico filter on it.
That's just what Mexico's like. Everything's hazy down there. It's like how Canada is.
That's how they found the border.
Res.
That's actually how they determined the border. There's a line where the filter.
It's like how Canada's low resolution.
yeah.
Um,
That makes sense.
but I feel like they did a lot of good like character work in the earlier part of the season. And like that, it's like Peter said, it's peaks and all valleys. This season is the perfect encapsulation of both what Cobra Kai started out as and what Cobra Kai became. And it's funny to like see them so closely smashed together in the season, because it really highlights just how fucking wacky everything has gotten and how it really never needed to get so wacky.
Like whenever I would see fucking Terry Silver and his right hand woman in their fucking 80s like cyber like
Yes.
vaporwave layer, or their their synthwave layer almost, as they're fucking sipping wine and like
Plotting
our
and
student
scheming.
is doing well,
Yeah.
but we may have to move to Plan B, Phase 2.
Yeah.
Fucking
So I fear that there's going to be a 6th season. There's not enough material for a 6th season. I think you could do a movie, which is the Senpai Tokai tournament or whatever it's called. And the movie is like a 2-hour movie that's like 4 episodes worth of footage, and I think you can wrap up everything you need to wrap up with that. There was a lot of ridiculousness, all the Cobra Kai shit with Silver and his nefarious schemes that don't really seem to affect anyone negatively, and the fucking prison break at the end. Oh my
Yeah, the
god. Fucking
See, now, like, this was part of it where I was like, so Kreese breaks out of prison, and I was like, my first reaction was like, oh wow, I can't, what smart writers? They carried over that beat where they did the obvious show of her using the key card to open up, and I didn't know if they were actually going to follow up or pay that off.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, he's going to probably use the key card to get out of there, and I was like, oh, good for them. They're smart. Why didn't I believe in them? And I'm like, oh, I know why I didn't believe in them, because it's stupid that the therapist would she has to leave.
she has to exit the building
the
at some
prison
point.
at some point before he broke out.
No, she was her backup. She just didn't question the fact that she was missing her key card.
In a prison, yeah, she's like,
In a prison.
oh, don't worry,
No
I
need
just
to bring this to
misplaced my
anyone's attention.
key card in the prison.
Also, the prison where your therapist definitely wants to get within choking reach of you.
Mm-hmm. Where the prisoner who I just denied parole is very calm all of a sudden.
I did enjoy the fact that he tried to bullshit his way out of prison, and she picked up on his bullshit. I'm like, thank you. Finally, someone can see through him.
I like that. Very good. I mean, she failed the second time.
There was some ridiculousness with just the visual, like Martin Cove, in his youth, very intimidating figure. As a 76-year-old man,
he reminds
he looks
me,
very
he
frail.
reminds me of a certain LaCourse.
Yes, his face, still carries, that intimidating energy, but you see a lot of full body shots of him, and he's just got a gut. His arms aren't very big.
See, I like what they did though in the prison though, because they already made reference to hey, we're bringing back flashbacks or retrospectives of him in his younger self. We already showed that before. We're bringing back the same actor. Now we gave him a lot of stunt training, and you know what? We're not going to use the stunt actor. We're just going to swap him out during one of the scenes. And we're gonna have the kid do the fighting. It's gonna be big brain.
Aged back.
I mean, if
30.
you're gonna fucking do that, it's better than having an action double.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was actually a lot better than what they did later with Stingray, because they had Stingray go fucking Macho Man Randy Savage on 4 punks, and it looked really bad.
Yeah, and Kurt, you picked up on this too, because I was kind of saying I'm glad they used Stingray as the solution to why can't these adults beat up kids, which is something that WWE has never been able to figure out.
Yeah,
why you can't why you can only fight within your range there, but they use Stingray across it. But Kurt, I think when we were talking, right, you said that it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't remember him from the last seasons as well, but when we were talking, it came back to me he wasn't really a fighter.
He didn't know anything about karate. He was the joke character in the first season, and he took a rap and didn't come back until I think season 3. And then he showed up and got the shit kicked out of him by Silver. And at no point to the show does he really embody any teachings of karate or show to be a capable fighter. There's one instance where he headbutts his annoying neighbor, I think, when he's throwing a house party, but that's really it. And then in this season, as they're heading into the climax here, he clears the way for the adults, displaying functional karate skills. And I really thought, because he's got money, because he got paid off to lie to put Kreese in jail, I really thought they were going to do a scene during the credits or something, or after the fact, where he's with those 4 kids he beat up, giving them money. He paid them off to take a dive to make himself look heroic, because that would make sense for his character. But no, he just he somehow, through osmosis, has learned karate, and he used it to advance the plot.
Yeah, and it's actually that what you said was actually a really extra good character beat, because one, it would pay off his character trope of getting around stuff and not being actually good at fighting, and 2, it would pay off or redeem the fact that he took the bribe. If he used the bribe money
for good
to help the heroes, that you pay that off there too. But they didn't.
I like this view a little bit differently, where maybe it was more because he did join back up with Cobra Kai. Like he was given a gi and he showed up to class. We just never saw him training, unless he's like stuck in the background of some shots, which I didn't notice him. But if he did stick around with Cobra Kai, honestly, that kind of bolsters the point to which that Cobra Kai kind of works and shows people how to like people who know nothing about karate and actually makes him pretty good at karate.
If you want to play that angle, you have to show him training.
Yeah, and they didn't. Well, that's more edits, that's more cuts and stunt work they have to do, and they didn't want to waste the time on Stingray.
Well, I'm saying if you're gonna pull that move, you actually have to set up the payoff. That's how this works.
No. They want it to be all a surprise. The whole big thing's a surprise. Surprise in the end with the prison break, and oh my god, it's Jello.
Yeah, it just fucking turns into fucking Anton Chigurh. And
because they zoomed in on the shank before, so there's your Chekhov's gun number 2 next to the.
And he walks out like, despite them saying there's been an attack and a break, which again, prisons. What's the first thing you do when there's a suspected break?
You lock it down.
You go into lockdown,
and you also have like check-in and check-out, where there's people who like sign you in and whatnot. So if a completely different looking psychiatrist or doctor walks out, I think someone would have a suspicion.
Okay.
It's like prisons are designed to like keep people from escaping.
Keep people in.
Okay, I know Northrop's not a prison. I'm not trying to make the analogy that Northrop's a prison, but I could give any one of you guys my card.
You did get shanked.
I could give any one of you guys my card. You could get in the building, no problem. I could probably hold up a Subway gift card, and they'd probably be like, "Yeah."
I would hope that even a minimum security prison would have a little bit more checks than an employer would.
I don't know. We got expensive stuff. We got like really good vending machines in there.
Let's talk about some of the evidence we have to support this theory that this show was written exclusively for us. There are a few beats, some stronger than others. Firstly, the inclusion of Judas by Fosse.
Yes, Judas in My Mind, the song for the theme of Chris Jericho in
Chris
AEW.
Jericho's AEW entrance theme since AEW started. And
being sung a cappella by a fan, assuming,
yes,
which is how he enters.
Well, the music plays, but the fans also sing, and they cut off the music, and like the last part of the verse is usually just the fans singing. So there was that. What was the second thing?
The gratuitous Olive Garden.
Yes, the gratuitous Olive Garden,
because that was also in Sonic the Hedgehog the movie,
which a thing we laughed quite a bit about in a review of that, of how gratuitous the Olive Garden placement was and how they leaned into it so it was okay. But
I have to say that it was also very well executed for being as just ham-fisted as it was.
Yeah,
the fact that it's like they pay it off at the end.
Yeah,
like that's the resolution to the storyline, is they get the Olive Garden in the end.
Well, yeah, you weren't kidding about these breadsticks. Yeah. But the icing on the cake is when fucking Danny's wife leaves him for all of 15 minutes, because that plot line had to get tied up real quick. They're at a bar, and some fucking, I think they're in Ohio,
some townie or whatever from her childhood.
Some townie yells out, "Babe Ruthless." Now,
because they remembered that was what her name was in high school.
Now, for those of you who are confused, Babe Ruthless is an all-time Inner Circle Mount Rushmore slam dunk name of a Power Rangers villain that Peter and I reference at nearly every given opportunity when we talk about great names throughout history.
Power Rangers, yeah.
There's no fucking way that anyone else remembers Babe Ruthless.
If you bring up Babe Ruthless, it's because you know that reference. Whatever writer did not come up with that on their own. Yeah,
it's all there, and like we've reviewed every season of Cobra Kai on this show, and we are secret Hollywood tastemakers. Everyone knows this by this point. The things we say on this show happen. Sometimes not right away, but don't
They
be
happen.
don't be surprised in 5 years if you finally see a trailer for Duck Duck Goose.
Yeah.
I mean, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey is basically Duck Duck Goose.
Pretty
Weird.
close.
It's like kissing cousins.
It's changed enough so that we can't sue. I'm pretty sure is how that worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was made directly for us. Thank you for customizing the show to our tastes. We obviously have some suggestions if you're gonna make another set of content. Again, please make it a movie.
Yes, a movie.
Have it-
Not don't drag out 4 episodes of content to 10 episodes again. We've been through that twice now. We don't need to go through it again.
You know, I don't know.
But
I
if
think
if they named their movie, if they name it Cobra Kai, Isekai Taikai, or Taikai Sekai, that's the best fucking movie name.
I don't know, man. I think they need to jump the shark more. I don't know how exactly they're gonna do it, but man, a world tour where they start.
The only step up you can go in terms of ridiculousness would be to have the tournament in space. That's really the only escalation you could
They
make.
could do that.
Yeah.
They could throw in added drama out of nowhere, maybe like Sam,
Like
gets
they did in the
pregnant or
last
something like that.
episode,
Yeah,
where for no reason they all decide that now is the time to run off half-cocked into the worst ambush you could ever think of. Like Terry didn't even need to fight back. He could have just taken a light beating or retreated and called the cops with impunity and said, "Hey, these guys they ran and invaded my home random. Here, let me put you in all the papers as being weird psychos, and your reputation for the Taikai Sekai
But Peter,
is ruined."
in this world, we solve all our problems with karate.
That's true. Yeah, and that's the other thing, like that just it kills you for like the kids will never get into this because it's not realistic to their lived experience. Like you're not gonna go like they know that you don't go into a school and commit a mass karateing. Like I know it's California, but there's a distinct like
you can
if
get a
you
gun.
have this,
You can get...
if you've got a feud brewing like this for 5 years in America and no one has pulled out a firearm yet,
I mean, fuck it. In American
this is fantasy.
In American History X, Edward Furlong gets shot after like a day of having a singular disagreement with another kid.
I've been waiting for the gun violence to show up. We haven't seen any gun violence. Maybe that's how they're going to jump the shark.
Any.
Everybody's going to be like, "Hey, it's better than this."
Fucking
gun.
like Kreese shows up with the
even if
tech guy with a fucking machine
zip
gun
gun.
and just mows down all of Eagle Fang.
Yeah, like usually they bring up the gun so that you can show how karate is used to disarm an opponent with a firearm, right? That's the beat. But again, that's us thinking like normal people and not like the writers of Cobra Kai.
I'm thinking season 5 is going to go a little bit like this. And they're going to do
Season
all
6.
episodes. Season 6, whatever. Season 6. That's a big distinction.
God help us.
We just watched season 5. I think they're going to do 12 episodes. Let's pull Game of Thrones and do 7 episodes, hour and a half long each. One or the other. They're going to do some weird shit. They're going to just roll a die. That's how many that's how many episodes they're going to come out with. But they're going to have Kreese. They're going to have Terry Silver get out of everything. He's going to fight it legally. He's going to sue Daniel LaRusso. Daniel LaRusso is going to have charges brought upon him. It's going to be like down to the wire. And then Kreese is going to go cap Terry Silver. All right.
Blah, blah.
Kreese fucking murders Silver. Nobody sees
they
it.
should do
You know
it.
what? I believe
Found
that because
dead.
it makes it implies that Kreese will go back to the prison that he escaped from to talk to Terry Silver.
You know what you do? You do it kind of like the fucking ending of American History X, where fucking Terry Silver's at the courthouse pissing into a urinal after, a recess or getting off, and then he turns around and it's fucking Kreese with a gun pointed at him, and he just caps him.
I was gonna say,
Here's your silver bullet, motherfucker.
Yeah, Do a fucking cheeky little thing like this. Here's your silver bullet, or have him put a silver bullet in there. Kill Terry Silver. Nobody sees it, but then he just takes over control over Cobra Kai, and nobody questions it. No, he just takes ownership because I think he's got some connection with the long hair girl. Who was
Tori.
Whoever that fuck. No, not Tori. The martial artist who came over from like Korea or Japan.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't even gotten to like that plot side
what
of
was
it.
she? I have her name here.
She was like
Kim Daeun.
Yeah.
Kim Daeun, who is just the hammiest performance.
They hired her because she knew karate, not because she could act.
Yes.
Oh, what about the goons? All the goons were like just your stereotypical like bad guys.
Yeah,
One's
one
got
had
an eye patch.
This was
for
the
no
Skeletor
fucking
crew.
reason.
Like this was He-Man villain territory.
One of them's got blonde tips.
One of them's got fucking an eye patch in the anime hair.
Yeah.
The black guy got his finger cut off, so now he's got a impairment.
What? Yeah, why were they obsessed with the black dude's fingers? Like, not. I say this because his fingers were featured in not one but two sequences in this season. One where he takes off the ring, and they show a very nice close-up shot of him taking off his ring before he fights these guys, and then at the end of the season, he gets his pinky cut off. What did they?
Wait, no, I think it was his ring finger that
fingers?
cut off. I think it was the ring finger that got cut off.
Oh, maybe if he kept the ring on, he wouldn't have got his finger cut off.
You see, it was a Chekhov's gun. They were ahead of you on that one, Peter. The writing's too advanced.
What if that
Chekhov's dual side?
To be fair, you have to have a very high IQ to understand Cobra Kai.
Yeah, the dual sai versus samurai sword was fantastic.
That was great. And then despite being like ready to fucking kill, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna pull my last move.
I'm not gonna be ready to kill.
I'm gonna turn my back on the man with the samurai."
Seriously,
sword.
like
hated
dead
that.
ass. Like I'm like, oh shit. So we're killing people on the show now. But then like no one actually ends up dying. Chosen's just fine for whatever reason, and it was Jello that he somehow got to look like it was bleeding out of him. I'm still not sure I pulled that off.
As soon as he touched it, I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be fucking Jello because that's like a thing.
Yeah,
that was a running the
red Jello
plot item.
I'm ready for people to start dying. You know, have Tori's mom die. She's been a faceless bag of bones.
She was a pair of feet this season.
Yeah. Before, I think she was a disembodied voice.
Yeah.
I'll
throw out there early in the season when Miguel's in Mexico and they come up on the MMA guys and they make the wise move to not have the karate guys win clean against two jacked MMA fighters.
They use the pepper. I was like, please don't make the case that karate is a viable martial art. Please don't do it. Please.
I would have loved that. That would have been the icing on top for the season if they were like, no, let's get Johnny in the ring with the MMA fighter on accident through a series of unfortunate events, and he has to like full on legitimately
this guy
win
who
MMA
has
guy.
40 pounds and 20 years of youth on him.
Yeah.
Love how Miguel's dad kind of went from just being like the best person he's ever met to being like the worst ever in like T-minus 20 seconds of film.
He's a drug dealer.
Like
this is literally, we were clowning on the Stars at Noon for having like a rehash plot. That arc was the Stars at Noon, where like the nice, well-meaning guy that you find charming, it turns out to be a drug dealer.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking silly. The whole show is silly. But like it was a lot of fun. Like I mentioned before we went on here, I watched episode 1 like 2 weeks ago, and then on Tuesday I watched episodes 2 through 10. Because once the show hits its stride, it is beyond ludicrous. Like if you cannot handle campiness or ridiculousness, we will not enjoy this, but you also would not have made it this far into the show if you weren't a fan, or if you weren't able to tolerate it, at least, I would say.
And yeah, I should also say, Two more things. One, they made one of the most homoerotic songs of the 80s totally straight.
Playing with the boys.
They playing with the boys. I can't believe they pulled it off. And two, I'm glad they just gave Johnny like the kid arc. Like they just let him be happy this season.
Yeah, I did appreciate that, and it was growth. Like I feel like at this point,
Yeah.
and with a lot of people, almost all the characters, their character arcs got tidied up real nice, and that's why I feel like you shouldn't just leave well enough alone. Do a movie, don't do a 6th season.
I just have an issue with the fucking common sense issue is all. But yeah, I did like Johnny Lawrence throughout the season. It was definitely like the final growth, the making amends with Robbie,
the teen melodrama. They're like,
they did dial that back. And for at least for the first half of the season, it was the Johnny Lawrence show, which is what Cobra Kai started out as, like both conceptually and on film. But Ralph Macchio, like that was another complaint, that a small complaint is that, fucking Danny got to deal the final blow. Like that should have been Johnny's spot.
Yeah.
Like fucking that this is his show, or at least it should be his show. But no, fucking Ralph Macchio had in his contract, I got to be the hero, even though I, of everyone on the show, do the worst karate.
Man's got he's got the
money.
He's got the star power, I guess, because he's been in My Cousin Vinny. He's been in a non-Karate Kid movie.
Yeah. William Zabka really fucking stole the show, though, because again, he was probably one of the critical reasons why this show got off the ground in the way it did. My plea, I know Will Smith, I know you're a producer on this, because I know you love Karate Kid. I'm assuming that's why Jane was in the reboot. Bring him into this.
The multiverse of Karate Kids. So that should be the final showdown. You should have fucking Jaden Smith versus Ralph Macchio versus Hilary Swank in a triple threat karate showdown.
If they put them in as cameos in the Sekai Tai, the Tai Kai Sekai,
as like
Tai,
other senseis, I'd appreciate that. But like you're out of callbacks. Like you're reaching deep for callbacks. Like I'm sure the Barnes or whatever his name is, I'm sure he was the only guy who like remembered being in Karate Kid. I'm sure they called up a bunch of other actors and like, hey, yeah, you were in Karate Kid 4. Do you want to do a cameo in this season of Cobra Kai? And they're like, nah, I wasn't in Karate Kid 4. What are you talking about? Oh, you called my agent? They said I was in it? Nah, I don't think that was me, dude. Yeah, you got the wrong guy. Have fun with your show, though.
Their roster, like they're so deep in their roster that they literally made a character out of a name drop that was never in the movie. Like Terry Silver's master was just like a thing he said. And they're like, we're out of characters. We need to make this into someone.
Yeah, it's Cobra Kai, baby. It is fun, undeniably. When it hits its stride, it is a lot of fun. And it's entertaining. If you liked the other seasons,
get over the teen melodrama.
Yeah, I would say this is probably the best season since the 2nd season. In terms of like being a palatable show, because seasons 3 and 4 were really just like 4 episodes of content stretched out over 4 seasons.
Slog, yeah.
But this felt better paced, and to the point they didn't even get to the big tournament. When they announced the Sekai Tekkai, I'm like, okay, here we go again. Finale's gonna be a tournament episode.
And I watched up to episode 8, and I asked Kurt, I'm like, because he had watched the whole series by the time, I'm like, please don't tell me that they do the whole world tournament in the last 2 episodes. And thankfully they didn't.
Yeah, I actually thought the last episode was going to be when they do that little mini tournament with just the champs. And I was like, it might have been mid, but I was like, there's more.
Yeah, it was.
Huh?
I think that was like an episode 7 or something like that.
That was 7. No, that was 8,
Oh,
I believe.
okay. Well, it was later
and
in the
then,
season.
Yeah, and then I was like, there's 2 more left. What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they
And
popped the whole charade, and
there's I guess they left it open if they get picked up to do more content. I would not recommend another season. Like I said, I think you could just do a movie for the tournament. That's all you need to do. Wrap everything up.
Is it announced?
Leave well enough alone. I don't know. I did not know there was going to be a 5th season of Cobra Kai. Like, this just kind of got shat out on the Netflix with very little fanfare.
Yeah, and again, Netflix doesn't go 5 seasons deep on fucking anything.
Yeah.
And they're only I think they're only here because the first 2 seasons weren't on Netflix.
Yeah.
So they only really made 3 seasons.
Yeah. So I would be surprised if we got a 6th season just based on their track record. But I could see a movie. I could see an original movie.
Yeah, I mean, it did get number 1 on the streamers' top 10 list.
Just because it's new.
I don't know if that's because it's again new or if it's because it's actually has like a lengthy following, but it could be that it definitely dies down enough to where they don't want to risk it, take another one. But I don't know.
Yeah, it all kind of depends on what the money's like, I guess. It all comes down.
But then
to
again,
money.
it is Sony. They'll produce anything though. Maybe Netflix doesn't have that much stake in it. Who knows if it's like paired up with Sony, but maybe they're also not getting that much out of it. Yeah, no official season 6 announcement yet, but they are
There you have it.
talking it over.
I guess we'll see if there's another season. We'll be here to cover at this point. We're in too deep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's gonna.
If this season was more crap than it was, I would have walked away.
Yeah, like
point.
I said at the end of the last season, like they get one more shot. It's like the boys too. I'm like, you guys have one more shot, and they did enough to keep me around in both instances. So until we know that it's not, that's a wrap on Cobra Kai. And a wrap on this episode. Please do check out SaturnStuds.com for links to our social medias. Follow us on those platforms, YouTube, Twitch, all that nonsense. And until next time, be well, stay safe, and party like it's 1995.
Peace.
Bye-bye.